Pontiac, a division of General Motors, had been around long enough to witness the changing automotive landscape in America. The 70s came with rising fuel costs and government emission safety regulations, and everything changed. Engine performance entered a downward spiral, while competition from imported models grew fiercer. As a result, Pontiac's selling points shifted from power and performance to luxury, safety, and efficiency. Welcome to our channel. Let's take a look at the top 10 greatest Pontiacs of the 70s. Number 10. Pontiac 1973 Grand Am. GM's new Colonnade midsize family was the biggest news for 1973. Their styling was a bit surprising, almost shocking, after a long run of their predecessors and the competition. The coupes got their most dramatic treatment with their semi-fastback roofs and bulging bodies. The 170 horsepower two-barrel 400 V8 rated good marks, with enough oomph to spin the tires a bit on an aggressive takeoff. 0 to 60 was acquired in 10.3 seconds. If one wanted more get up and go, there were a number of engine options, all the way up to a 310 horsepower 455, the most powerful engine offered by any domestic maker in 1973. The Grand Am's road manners combined handling and ride that was better than earlier domestic attempts at road cars, but the suspension's limitations due to lack of sophistication were still there. Number 9. Pontiac 1974 Grand Am. The Pontiac Grand Am was envisioned as a competitor to the increasingly popular Mercedes and BMW imports that combined both luxury and sporting elements in their offerings, a concept not common in American cars. For the 1974 model year, the Pontiac Grand Am received a revised rear fascia with vertical taillights, a relocated license plate that hid the fuel filler neck, and alterations to meet the new 5-mile-per-hour crash standards. Powertrain offerings included the two-barrel carbureted 400 cubic inch V8 with a single exhaust, rated at 190 horsepower, two variants with 4-barrel carbs that produced 200 or 225 horsepower, and the top-of-the-line 455 cubic inch equipped with a 4-barrel carb that made 250 horsepower. Engine displacement was emblazoned on trunk emblems expressed in liters. Number 8. Pontiac 1975 Grand Am. As mentioned, the Grand Am's introductory generation of 1973 to 1975 was by far its best in terms of classic style and adherence to an awesome sport luxury purpose. Even better than the standard form it took, though, was the optional 455 cubic inch V8, an engine also found in the best versions of the two cars that the Grand Am was a supposed amalgamation of, the Trans Am and Grand Prix. Engines were also detuned to meet the 1975 emission regulations, with the compression ratio dropping to a new low of 7.6 to 1 on some engines. Standard was the 170 horsepower 400 cubic inch 6.6-liter V8 with a two-barrel carburetor. Optional was a 185 horsepower. Number 7. Pontiac 1977 Can-Am. The Pontiac Can-Am is a mid-sized muscle car built by Pontiac and based on the Pontiac Le Mans and the Pontiac Grand Am. The Can-Am was a special edition option package and was only available in 1977. It was named for the Can-Am Racing Series, continuing the race theme used for the Pontiac Grand Prix, Le Mans, and Trans Am. The car was a trim package of the Pontiac Le Mans but powered by the Pontiac 400 rated at 200 horsepower. Cars specifically destined for Californian or high-altitude county dealers featured the Oldsmobile 403 small block, making 185 horsepower. When the Can-Am was first introduced to the dealers, Pontiac envisioned producing 2,500 units. The response from the buying public was much more than expected, and over 5,000 orders were submitted. Number 6. Pontiac 1973 Trans Am. In the 1973 Firebird, the standard interior equipment was almost the same as in prior years. The new horse collar optional custom interior featured new seat coverings and door panels. The 1973 Firebird also had to meet the new safety and emissions requirements for 1973. There were extra steel reinforcements in the bumper and core support to the fender. The SD455 debuted quietly in 1973 as an option on the Formula and Trans Am versions of the Firebird. A few Grand Ams and GTOs with the souped-up power plant found their way into the hands of automotive journalists. It's reported a likely made-up 310 horsepower rating easily embarrassed the 245 horsepower output of that year's top Camaro and put the SD in league with the big block dinosaurs that had ruled a few years before. Number 5. Pontiac 1974 Trans Am. The 1974 models featured a redesigned shovel-nose front end and new wide-slotted taillights. The 400, 455, and SD 455 engines were offered in the Trans Am and Formula models during 1974. The Firebird Trans Am 1974 SD45 is a motor car from Pontiac with rear-wheel drive, a front-positioned engine, and a two-door coupe body style. The Pontiac Firebird Trans Am SD455 belongs to the 2F range of cars from Pontiac. The power is produced by a naturally aspirated engine of 7.5-liter capacity. This power plant features overhead valve gear, a 90-degree V8 cylinder layout, and 2 valves per cylinder. It produces 290 brake horsepower at 4,000 RPMs and maximum torque of 535 Nm at 3,200 RPMs. Power is supplied to the wheels through a 4-speed manual gearbox. Number 4. Pontiac 1975 Trans Am. The 1975 models featured new wraparound rear windows that curved out to occupy more of the B pillars, but the rear body shape and bumper remained unchanged. The turn signals were moved up from the valance panel to the grills, which helped distinguish 1975 from the 1974 front end, as they are otherwise similar. This was also the last year of the larger profile, larger snout Formula hood for the Firebird Formula. According to Profess Cars' estimation, this Pontiac is capable of accelerating from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 9 seconds, from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 9.5 seconds, from 0 to 160 kilometers per hour, or 100 miles per hour, in 25.3 seconds, and the quarter-mile drag time is 17.1 seconds. Number 3. Pontiac 1973 Grand Prix. When the third-generation Grand Prix finally arrived redesigned in 1973, the crash bumpers and pillared roof it sported were influenced by federal safety standards. 2 V8 power mills making 230 horsepower and 250 horsepower were available for motivation, while an optional radial-tuned suspension improved handling. Unlike what was attainable in cars back then, the interior had genuine wood trimmings, and the new bucket seats had higher seatbacks and lumbar support. Although the 73 Grand Prix was more of a watered-down model, its perfect blend of luxury and sportiness led to the record production of over 150,000 cars. Number 2. Pontiac 1970 GTO 455. While the second-generation Pontiac GTOs are some of the most sought-after models from Pontiac's golden era, the 1970 GTO 455 outshines most of them. Powered by a 7.5-liter 455 cubic inch Pontiac V8 power plant that spewed up to 360 horsepower and 500 foot-pounds of torque, it was a fearsome beast that appealed to gearheads. It also got styling updates which gave it larger grille openings and reshaped front fenders and rear quarter panels. To match the GTO's aggression, it came with a sport steering wheel, Rally 2 wheels, stiffer springs, shocks, and stabilizer bars. Number 1. Pontiac 1976 Firebird Formula. The Firebird's lineup for 1976 had 4 models which shared the same head-turning style, the same basic interior, and the same radial-tuned suspension. Power was supplied either by a standard 5.7-liter, 350 cubic inch, 160 horsepower V8 or an optional 6.6-liter, 400 cubic inch unit that was good for 185 horsepower and 320 foot-pounds of torque. With a starting MSRP of $4,565, the 76 Firebird Formula was a favorite of those who couldn't afford the Trans Am. At a period when muscle cars were losing their appeal to subcompact cars, the formula still managed to offer performance and class that kept it in the game. Thanks so much for watching.